There is a deep, hidden truth that narcissists spend a lifetime concealing. They don't fear accusations, and they don't flinch at your tears or anger. That's because all of those emotions are the very energy they crave. The only thing that makes them tremble is when they stand before a person who possesses an invisible power, a super empath. A super empath is not simply a sensitive person. They are individuals with the ability to look straight at the core, seeing through every glamorous facade that a narcissist has painstakingly built. For them, silence is not surrender. It is the sharpest weapon. They do not need to shout to be heard, because their very steadiness and calmness say it all. In this video, we will reveal the secret of the super empath's power and how they use silence, boundaries, and patience to expose and defeat narcissists, not through revenge, but through truth and inner strength. All right, let's take a closer look at the narcissist's game. They are master deceivers, living in a universe built entirely from illusion. Their sole purpose is to create a flawless, perfect image, a mask to attract and retain victims. They aren't inherently bad from the start. They are brilliant actors, capable of transforming into whomever you desire. Do you want a devoted lover? They will become that person. Are you seeking a loyal friend? They will appear to be one. They study you, listen to your deepest longings, and mold themselves into the ideal image you've always dreamed of. When you first meet a narcissist, it feels as if you found your other half. They will shower you with the sweetest compliments and the most thoughtful attention, making you believe this is someone who can love you sincerely. But it is all an elaborately staged play. Behind that radiant smile and perfect exterior is a hollow, fragile soul desperate for admiration. Your energy, your love, and your attention are the only lifeblood that feeds their empty ego. However, every play eventually comes to an end. Over time, cracks begin to appear in the mask. Their words become inconsistent, their promises fade, and you start to notice the coldness hidden beneath the warm exterior. Instead of doubting them, you turn the blame on yourself. You wonder if you did something wrong, if you need to try harder or love more to make things go back to how they were. And in that very moment of self-doubt, you fall straight into the trap of manipulation they have set. This is the biggest weakness of ordinary people when they face a narcissist. We are too willing to believe in the good and unwilling to accept the painful truth that we have been deceived. But with a super empath, the story is completely different. They have a special ability to see through these layers, sense inconsistencies, and recognize the falsehood from the very beginning. They are not pulled into the game because they have been through the pain before and have learned to trust their intuition. While most of us panic and self-blame when a narcissist's mask begins to crack, a rare kind of person is not deceived. The super empath, they don't just listen with their ears, but with their heart, sensing the falseness behind sweet words and insincere eyes. For them, flowery promises cannot lull them to sleep, as they keenly perceive the inconsistencies in tone and the absence of genuine emotion. A super empath's intuition acts like a sophisticated radar, picking up on signals that others easily miss. An excessive compliment, a sudden and overwhelming display of attention, or a gesture so perfect it feels unnatural, all of it becomes data for them to analyze. Instead of drowning in the illusion and believing the story the narcissist has constructed, the super empath chooses to step back and observe. They don't react immediately, they don't accuse, and they don't need to raise their voice. They simply see. And it is this piercing perception that deeply unsettles the narcissist. This special ability doesn't come out of nowhere. Most super empaths have walked through deep wounds. They have been used, deceived, and betrayed after giving their all. But instead of letting the pain harden them or make them bitter, they have turned it into wisdom. They learned to tell the difference between real care and fake concern, to place their trust wisely and to follow their intuition instead of appearances. The pain that once nearly destroyed them has now become the very sword that makes them stronger than anyone else. And when a narcissist comes face to face with a super empath, all of their performances collapse into meaninglessness. Because what they fear most is not anger or accusation, but being seen through. The ability of a super empath to see through and identify falsehood is not an innate gift, but the result of a painful journey and profound awakening. Most people who possess this power have endured deep wounds, having been exploited and betrayed by the very people they trusted most. They gave all their trust, their time, their genuine affection, only to be left with indelible scars. That pain could easily make a person callous, withdrawn, and bitter, but for the super empath, it becomes a powerful catalyst. Instead of letting the pain destroy them, super empaths choose to face it. They don't run from or deny their feelings. They learn to look straight at their wounds, understanding the source and the lesson behind each fall. This process hones their intuition to an astonishing degree. They learn to distinguish between genuine care and a false pretense with just a glance, a gesture, or a word. They learn where to place their trust and when to listen to their inner voice instead of believing in a glamorous facade. These emotional wounds, which might seem like weaknesses, are actually a source of endless strength. The pain that once broke them has now forged them into courageous warriors, carrying a sword of wisdom and insight. When a narcissist attempts to manipulate or deceive, they are no longer easy victims to be swept away. They have become people who can see the full picture, recognize familiar scripts, and stand firm in their truth. This power does not come from revenge or hatred, but from a process of healing and rebirth, transforming suffering into an unshakable shield and a guiding light. When a super empath enters a narcissist's life, their familiar game of deception soon ends. All of their daily glamorous performances, from the initial charm to the meticulously woven lies, suddenly become meaningless. This doesn't happen because the super empath has voiced accusations or displayed anger, but because they see through it all. A narcissist's greatest fear is not confrontation, but exposure. When a super empath looks directly at them, not with admiration or love, but with calm understanding, the carefully crafted mask loses all its value. In that moment, the narcissist realizes they can no longer deceive or manipulate. The person before them already knows the truth. A narcissist is like an actor accustomed to living in their role, dependent on admiration and pulling others into their game. Then, one day, they meet a super empath, someone who doesn't get pulled in, who doesn't react as expected, and who doesn't see a perfect hero, but instead sees a fragile soul hiding behind a mask. In that instant, the narcissist's entire power crumbles. They are like an actor stepping onto the stage, only to find the audience has left, and when the audience is gone, the play ends. This is why only a super empath can truly defeat a narcissist. It's not because they are louder or physically stronger. It's because they possess a force the narcissist cannot resist, the power of truth. You can argue with a narcissist, try to prove them wrong, cry, or scream all of it is useless. But when you look at them with clarity, when you no longer react, when you no longer believe the mask, the game ends instantly. A super empath doesn't need to shout to be heard or prove anything to be acknowledged. Their strength lies in perception and stillness. A truth that is seen, even if left unspoken, is enough to bring the narcissist down. When the narcissist's mask crumbles under the keen gaze of a super empath, we enter a new phase of the confrontation, the game of silence. This is not a surrender or a defeat, but the most terrifying weapon a narcissist cannot withstand. The one thing they crave most is attention, whether positive or negative. They live on it, breathe through it, and build their entire world around, forcing others to react to their actions. Whether you rage, cry, beg, or argue until exhaustion, all of those emotions are precious nourishment for their hollow and fragile ego. This is precisely why your silence becomes their most dangerous enemy, a weapon that requires no noise or violence, yet leaves them trembling in despair. When attacked by a narcissist, most people react instinctively. We explain, we justify, we cry out in pain, or we explode in anger to protect ourselves. But the super empath is different. They understand a simple yet powerful truth. Every reaction is a gift the narcissist is trying to steal. And when that gift is withheld, their entire manipulation script collapses. Imagine a familiar argument. The narcissist throws out provocations, baseless accusations, or performs an emotional drama to drag you into chaos. Normally, you would get pulled in, trying to explain, fighting back, and eventually falling into exhaustion. But the super empath takes another path. They sit still, with calm eyes, no reply, and no reaction. In that moment of silence, the narcissist feels as though their oxygen has been cut off. When a narcissist attacks, our instinct tells us to react immediately. We rush to explain our innocence, cry out in pain, or erupt in anger to defend ourselves. But these very instinctive reactions are exactly what the narcissist expects. We unwittingly hand them a precious gift, our attention and emotional energy. The super empath understands a simple yet powerful truth. Every reaction is a gift the narcissist is trying to steal. And when that gift is withheld, their entire manipulation script collapses. Imagine a familiar argument. The narcissist launches baseless accusations, throws out provocations, or stages a dramatic scene to pull you into chaos. Typically, you would get dragged in, trying to explain, fighting to defend yourself, and ultimately becoming exhausted. But the super empath chooses a different path. They remain still, with calm eyes, offering no reply and no reaction. In that moment of silence, the narcissist feels as though their oxygen has been cut off. To them, silence isn't just a refusal to engage, it's a sentence. It's a mirror reflecting their true essence. A person screaming into a void with no one listening and no one caring. They feel small, weak, and powerless. They don't know what you're thinking or what you'll do next, and that mystery terrifies them. In the hands of a super empath, silence is never a weakness, it's a calculated strategy. It's an unspoken declaration. I no longer play by your rules. When a super empath goes silent, they reclaim the power they once unconsciously gave away. Every tear shed, every justification, every desperate attempt to prove a point was once energy feeding the narcissist. But when that energy is cut off, they spiral into crisis. For the narcissist, silence is more than a simple refusal to participate in their game. It is a sentence, a mirror that reflects their true nature. When you are silent, you are not just denying their words, you are denying their existence in your world. In that moment, they feel small, weak, and powerless. They are accustomed to controlling your emotions and actions, but now they cannot predict what you're thinking or what you'll do next. This mystery and uncertainty are their greatest fears. In the hands of a super empath, silence is never a sign of weakness or surrender. On the contrary, it is a powerful strategy. It is not a compromise, but an unspoken declaration. I no longer play by your rules. When a super empath chooses to be silent, they are reclaiming the power they once unconsciously gave away. Imagine a boxing match. On one side, the narcissist throws endless punches, words, criticisms, and insults. On the other side, the super empath neither dodges nor strikes back. They simply stand firm, calm, and steady. The narcissist keeps swinging, but with no reaction and no visible wound to feed on, their blows become meaningless. Buried deep within every narcissist is a secret fear, the fear of being ignored. They can handle being hated because hatred is still a form of attention. They can handle being yelled at because your voice still revolves around them. But they cannot handle silence. Silence means they no longer exist in your world. And for someone who survives only through recognition, disappearing from your mind is nothing less than a death sentence. Silence is not running away. It is not weakness or avoidance. On the contrary, it is how you reclaim your power. You choose not to react, not because you can't, but because you know you don't have to. You understand that your worth is not measured by winning an argument, but by preserving the peace of your soul. That's right. Here's the next part of the article, focusing on the core fear of the narcissist and how the super empath's silence becomes a death sentence for them. When a super empath chooses silence, they are not only protecting themselves, but also tapping into a secret fear buried deep within every narcissist, the fear of being ignored. This fear is even greater than anger or hatred, because we all know that hatred is still a form of attention, a form of energy. A narcissist can endure being hated, as it means they still occupy a place in your mind. They can endure being yelled at because your voice still revolves around them, but they cannot endure silence. For a narcissist, silence means they no longer exist in your world. This feeling is worse than any attack. A narcissist survives on recognition, on the attention of others. When they are no longer seen or reacted to, they feel as though they are disappearing. Your silence is a death sentence for their ego, an unspoken declaration that you have stepped out of their game and reclaimed control of your life. After a narcissist's mask is stripped away by silence, we'll explore another incredibly powerful weapon that the super empath uses: boundaries. It's important to realize that a narcissist is not truly strong. Their power doesn't come from within themselves, but only from invading the unguarded spaces inside others. They constantly try to test your kindness, compassion, and willingness to sacrifice. The only thing they need to know is whether you dare to say no. The absence of boundaries is the very path that allows them to infiltrate your life inch by inch, piece by piece. But when they face a super empath, someone who has learned to set clear and firm boundaries, all of their manipulation suddenly becomes useless. A super empath understands that kindness and love do not mean allowing others to trample over you. They know their self-worth isn't defined by pleasing everyone, but by protecting their own inner peace. That's why they set boundaries, not with anger or threats, but with calmness and steadfastness. A boundary is a powerful declaration. This is my limit. You cannot cross. And when a narcissist collides with this invisible wall, they become confused, angry, and even panicked because no one has ever dared to stop them like this before. The super empath's strength lies not only in seeing through lies and remaining silent, but also in their ability to build and protect their personal boundaries with unwavering resolve. They have learned a profound lesson from past wounds. Love and kindness never mean allowing others to trample on your worth and peace of mind. For them, setting a boundary is not a selfish or heartless act, but a powerful act of self-affirmation. They establish these invisible walls, not with anger or threats, but with a calm and steady demeanor. A clear boundary is an unshakable declaration. This is where I stop. You cannot cross. When a narcissist, accustomed to invading and controlling, collides with this wall, they become confused, angry, and even panicked. They are so used to their victims giving in to sweet promises, softening at their crocodile tears, or feeling guilty from their blame. But when faced with a super empath's firmness, their old tactics become useless. A boundary is a sign of self-respect, a declaration that you know you deserve to be treated with dignity and don't have to sacrifice yourself to prove it. What terrifies the narcissist most is that a boundary cannot be manipulated. Their lies, emotional theatrics, or threats have no effect. Once a person truly believes in their own worth, nothing can sway them. Psychological research shows that people with clear boundaries tend to be less stressed, less likely to fall into toxic relationships, and more resilient after hardship. Boundaries are like the immune system of the spirit, protecting you from harm before it can enter. And for a super empath who is deeply sensitive to the emotions of others, boundaries are even more essential. They transform sensitivity from a weakness into a strength, from an open door into a solid shield. While narcissists can only control and manipulate, they are completely powerless against a much greater force: the super empath's ability to heal and be reborn. A narcissist may try to wound you, to break your spirit, but they do not have the right to decide that you will remain defeated forever. A super empath doesn't deny their pain. They allow themselves to cry, to hurt, and even to fall. But they never let that pain define who they are. Instead, they confront it, touch it, and learn to walk with it until they find peace. For a super empath, their wounds are not a final destination but a valuable lesson. They transform their painful experiences into wisdom, which helps them gain a deeper understanding of themselves and the nature of toxic relationships. After walking this path, the narcissist's lies and fake flattery no longer have any effect. What were once the manipulator's weapons now become meaningless, because the former victim has become an invincible and powerful warrior. Once a super empath has gone through this process, the narcissist can never repeat the old script. They cannot deceive with empty promises or manipulate with emotional theatrics, because they are now facing a new, stronger, and wiser version of their former victim. What terrifies the narcissist is the fact that they cannot destroy a soul that knows how to heal itself. They may cause wounds, but they cannot decide that those wounds will never heal. When you choose to heal, you strip the narcissist of their greatest power. And when you are reborn, you confront them with a harsh truth. The pain they caused did not break you, it only made you stronger. After transforming wounds into wisdom and achieving a powerful rebirth, the super empath possesses another ultimate weapon that a narcissist can't anticipate: patience. In the battle with a narcissist, most of us react instinctively. They attack and we immediately strike back. They provoke and we rush into arguments. They plant doubts and we scramble to defend ourselves. And just like that, we are pulled into an endless whirlwind of chaos, a whirlwind the narcissist completely controls. However, the super empath chooses a different path. They understand a simple secret that is powerful enough to turn the entire game around. Patience is something the narcissist cannot endure. Narcissists thrive on instant reactions. They need to see you angry, see you hurt, and hear you justify yourself immediately. Every second you react is another second they feel powerful. But the super empath knows how to wait. They do not follow the script the narcissist has prepared. They observe, they listen, and they let time become their ally. In the stillness of patience, every deception begins to unravel on its own. A false story will eventually collapse when you are patient enough not to get pulled into it. The narcissist can stage a dramatic play, accuse you, and exaggerate your mistakes, but if you remain calm, silent, and simply observe, they will start to trip over their own contradictions. The super empath's patience is not passive. On the contrary, it is an active strategy, a conscious choice not to react, so you cannot be manipulated. The more they try to push you into an outburst, the calmer you remain, and with that the power gradually shifts from their hands into yours. When a super empath chooses patience, they are stripping the narcissist of their most valuable possession, control. When you no longer react as they expect, they become unsettled. They cannot predict your next move or control your emotions. And this very uncertainty is what defeats them. They are so used to holding the script and directing the emotional drama, but now that script is no longer valid. The narcissist will try even harder to provoke, but each failed attempt only makes them appear more ridiculous and out of control. Patience is not just an offensive weapon, it's also a shield that protects the super empath from exhaustion. Those who have been manipulated by a narcissist know the fatigue of endless arguments, explanations, and self-defense. But with patience, the super empath no longer falls into that trap. They choose to conserve their energy, saving their strength for more crucial decisions: the decision to leave, the decision to rebuild their life, and the decision to never again let the narcissist rule their mind. There is an irony here. The more desperate the narcissist becomes to win quickly, the more unstable they appear. Meanwhile, the more patient the super empath becomes, the more they radiate an invisible power. Picture two chess players. On one side, the narcissist rushing every move, desperate for an instant win. On the other side, the super empath, calm and watchful, waiting for their opponent to make a mistake. In the end, it is the narcissist's impatience that seals their defeat. When you are patient, you win without striking a blow. Because the narcissist digs their own grave with their contradictions, their insatiable thirst for control, and the insecurity that never leaves them. Patience sends a powerful message. I am no longer a puppet in your script. I write my own story now. And that is what terrifies the narcissist most. After all we've explored, an undeniable truth emerges. The narcissist is not invincible. Their power exists only as long as you haven't discovered your own true strength. But once you awaken, once you become a super empath, they lose all control over you. What makes a super empath different is not that they were never hurt, but that they walked through the pain and emerged stronger. They have cried, they have fallen, and they have doubted themselves. Yet, every crack in their soul became a place where light entered, a place where strength was born. When they rise, they don't just survive, they shine. A narcissist lives on illusion, while a super empath lives on truth. The narcissist survives through control, but the super empath thrives through freedom. The narcissist needs your reactions, but the super empath wins through stillness. And this is why, in the end, only the super empath can truly defeat the narcissist. Not through revenge or struggle, but simply by becoming their authentic self, whole, steady, and untouchable. If these words resonate with you, it's no coincidence. Deep inside, you know you carry that same strength. You don't need to wait for someone else to save you or to give you their approval. That power has always been within you. The moment you believe, the moment you choose, you too can become a super empath, someone who not only escapes the darkness, but also becomes a light for those still lost within it. Remember, this journey is not about proving your worth to the narcissist. It's about seeing it for yourself, learning to love yourself, and living a life of freedom no longer controlled by anyone.